It began with a voice that wasn't supposed to exist, a whisper cutting through the static of deep space communication logs. It said only 6 words. He doesn't know who he is. The transmission came from the Arcturian fringe, a region NASA classified as optically hostile, meaning no light, no return signals, nothing but a hum so deep it rattled the receivers in Houston. They thought it was a glitch until the signal repeated, 3 nights in a row, always at the same hour, always with the same chilling tone. Feminine, deliberate, ancient. By the 4th transmission, they'd already sent someone. His name was Commander Elias Ward, 39 years old, ex-aerospace intelligence, fluent in 3 dead languages, and selected for a mission he was told didn't exist. His orders: investigate the signal, recover any source tech, and, if necessary, neutralize potential threats. That last word, neutralize, was a euphemism everyone understood. But Elias didn't know, not yet, when his ship, the Vigilant Dawn, crossed the outer rim of Arcturus IV's orbit. His vitals began to spike. The onboard AI noticed his brainwave patterns aligning with the frequency of the very signal they were tracking. It was as if something, or someone, was syncing with him. The more they approached the surface, the louder the whisper became. "Welcome home," it said. The planet itself shouldn't have been possible. Oceans of liquid crystal, forests that pulsed with faint bioluminescent veins, and mountains that shimmered as if alive. But it wasn't the world that made his breath stall. It was the figures waiting for him at the crash site. 7 of them. Women, or what appeared to be women, with translucent skin that shimmered between hues of blue and silver, their eyes vast and ancient, filled with the kind of knowing that made time feel irrelevant. They didn't move toward him. They simply stood in a half-circle watching, communicating in silence. The air shimmered around Elias, and suddenly his weapons powered down. Every system on his suit went dark. "Elias Ward," the tallest of them said. Her voice carried through the air and into his skull. "You came as they planned, but you don't remember why." He reached for the emergency beacon. It was dead. The HUD flickered with static, forming an unfamiliar glyph across his visor, 3 concentric circles intersected by a line of light. The same symbol NASA had scrubbed from all Arcturian transmissions. "Who are you?" he managed. "We are what remains," she said, "of what your kind destroyed." He blinked hard, trying to steady his breathing. "I'm here to investigate a signal." "You are the signal," another voice interrupted, younger, softer, but carrying the same psychic resonance. "Your memory was rewritten before departure. They turned you into a weapon, wrapped in human skin." He staggered back. That's impossible. But it wasn't. Because deep in his chest, something pulsed. A warmth that didn't feel human. It spread through his veins, reaching his fingertips, and when he looked down, he saw faint traces of light moving beneath his skin, the same glow as theirs. Panic surged through him. "What did you do to me?" The leader's eyes softened. "Nothing. We're undoing what they hid." Then, with a single gesture, she reached out, not touching him physically, but with an energy that felt like being seen from the inside out. Memories flooded him. Sterile labs, human scientists whispering about the hybrid project, voices debating whether he'd survive the genetic graft, and one man's voice, cold and precise. He'll never know what he is until it's too late. The truth hit him like gravity returning after a long drift. He wasn't just a soldier. He was the weapon, a hybrid created to infiltrate the last surviving Arcturian colony and activate a virus coded into his DNA. A biological extinction switch. And he'd just landed among the very beings he was engineered to annihilate. He collapsed to his knees, gasping, the horror and confusion twisting through him like acid. But the Arcturian women didn't attack. They surrounded him, their presence radiating warmth, sorrow, something maternal. "We could destroy you," the leader said quietly. "But we won't, because once you were one of us." Her words shattered the last thread of certainty he had left. "One of you? I'm human." "No," she whispered. "You are both. That's why they fear you." The forest around them pulsed in sync with her words, as if the entire planet was listening. Above, a massive storm of light began to swirl, forming a spiral of colors that defied description. Elias felt it inside him, something awakening, something ancient. Then a sudden burst of data flared across his retinal feed. Unauthorized uplink detected. NASA Command had re-established remote access to his body systems. They were overriding his neural core, forcing the virus protocol online. The Arcturian leader stepped forward, her eyes burning brighter. "They're activating you. If we don't stop it, everyone here, including you, dies." Elias screamed as the code ignited in his nervous system, his veins glowing white-hot. His own body was becoming the weapon they'd built. "Tell me what to do," he shouted. "Remember," she said, placing her hand on his chest. "Remember who you were before they erased you." And then the world exploded into light. The forest dissolved. The sound vanished. Only his heartbeat remained, echoing in an endless void. The light was unbearable, not bright but absolute. It stripped away everything familiar until Elias felt weightless, untethered, like thought without form. He didn't know if he was dying or awakening. Somewhere, voices called to him, human, mechanical, alien, all blending into one impossible sound. Then, as if the void exhaled, he fell. When his eyes opened, he was lying on a stone floor that seemed to breathe with its own faint pulse. Around him stretched what looked like a temple, vast crystalline walls shimmering with movement beneath their surfaces, like memories trapped in ice. The Arcturian women were there, surrounding him again, their faces illuminated by soft blue light. But something was different now. They looked older. Or maybe it was him who felt younger. "You were not supposed to awaken this way," the leader said. Elias pushed himself upright, pain slicing through every muscle. "Where am I?" "In the memory chamber. Your body failed in the outer world. We brought your consciousness here before they could claim it." He looked at his hands, no longer gloved, no longer even flesh as he knew it. Lines of luminous circuitry traced his veins, humming faintly with energy. He wasn't breathing. He didn't need to. "What are you doing to me?" "We're not doing," she said softly. "We're undoing." Then the walls began to shift. Images appeared, visions of Earth, of laboratories buried beneath oceans, of men and women in suits debating timelines. One screen displayed his own face, hooked to machines. "He's perfect," a voice said from the recording. "The genetic integration is stable. The Arcturian code accepts the human host." Elias stumbled backward. "That's me?" "Yes," the younger Arcturian said. "You were born from both worlds. Their soldier, our creation. They took you before your awakening and reprogrammed you to forget." The truth began sinking in, heavy and cold. He wasn't human by accident. He was part of a stolen experiment, a fusion meant to bridge two dying species. Only the humans had turned it into a weapon. But before he could speak, the chamber trembled. "They've found you," the leader said. "Your body in the physical realm. They're trying to pull your mind back. They won't let you stay." He felt it, a burning tether yanking at his consciousness, pulling him through layers of reality. A male voice echoed inside his head. "Commander Ward, this is Control. You're compromised. Execute Directive 0. His own voice, recorded, cold, unrecognizable, responded from somewhere distant. "Acknowledged." "No," he shouted, clenching his fists. "I won't." The Arcturian leader reached out, her energy flowing into him like liquid light. "Fight the code. It was built on lies. You are not their weapon. You are the key." "Key to what?" "To balance," she whispered. "To remembrance. There is something you were meant to see." The walls of the temple dissolved again, and suddenly he stood in a vision. Not memory, not dream. Before him stretched a city of impossible beauty, suspended in the air, each structure alive with sound and light. Arcturian beings walked among rivers of energy, speaking in harmonic resonance. But then came the fire. Human ships cutting through the sky, raining destruction. Screams echoed through light. The invasion. And at the center of it all was him, not the man he thought he was, but another version, standing with the humans giving orders. His own face, his own voice leading the assault. He fell to his knees as realization crushed him. That was me. It was your clone, the leader said. The first experiment. You were the second, the one who would remember, the one who could choose. Tears formed, though he had no physical eyes. Why would they do this? Why make me? Because your kind lost their way. They feared what they couldn't understand. They wanted to erase what reminded them of their failures. You were their insurance policy, a walking reset switch. The ground shook violently again, the chamber fracturing like glass. They're breaching the barrier, shouted the younger Arcturian. He has to decide now. Decide what? Elias cried. The leader's voice was almost tender. Whether to return and finish what they made you for, or stay here and reclaim what you were born to protect. Her hand pressed to his chest, and for the first time he felt her memories. Centuries of survival, of beauty, of loss. He saw Arcturian mothers hiding their children as the human fleet arrived, their songs becoming prayers for mercy. And now he understood. The virus wasn't just a weapon. It was a way to end the Arcturian bloodline completely. If activated, it would erase every trace of their DNA, including his own. I can't kill them, he whispered. I can't kill myself. Then you must learn to control the code, she said, before they control you. And then everything shattered. He woke up gasping, this time back inside his body, lying in a crater of molten glass. His ship was gone. The sky burned orange with twin moons. His comm crackled with static before a human voice cut through. Commander Ward, report status. Target location confirmed. Virus sequence armed. Elias looked down at his trembling hands, light still pulsing beneath his skin, a storm rising in his blood. The women were gone, but their voices lingered inside him. You are both. Choose what survives. He stared at the distant horizon where faint silhouettes moved through the haze, the Arcturian tribe watching. And behind him the faint gleam of approaching drones. The drones descended like locusts made of light, silent, surgical, merciless. Their beams cut through the haze, scanning, searching, closing in on the crater where Elias stood. He felt the command signal crawling through his nervous system, a voice coded into every pulse of his blood. Execute Directive 0. His vision flickered with HUD readouts, target locks, and flashing warnings. His human training screamed at him to comply, to finish the mission, to eliminate the non-terrestrial threat. But the other part of him, the one now awake, rebelled. It felt the rhythm of the planet beneath his feet, the pulse of the Arcturian energy calling him home. The drone stopped overhead. A sharp mechanical tone pierced the air, then a voice cold and familiar. Commander Ward, stand by for neural synchronization. He froze. It was Director Haldane, the man from the recordings, the one who'd called him perfect. Elias's heart clenched. You lied to me, he said into the comm. We built you, Haldane replied. You were never meant to question that. But the time for questions is over. Activate the sequence. Finish your purpose. I know what that purpose is now, Elias said, and I won't do it. You think you have a choice? Haldane's voice cracked like a whip. Your code, Elias. Flesh is just the casing. You can't override what you are. A surge of electricity ripped through his spine, pain so intense it blurred his vision. He screamed, dropping to his knees as streams of light carved through the sand around him. The virus was booting. Lines of alien glyphs spiraled across his arms, his chest, his face. He could feel it, a storm inside him waiting to be unleashed. Stop, he gasped. Please. Execute the Arcturian cleanse, Haldane commanded, now. Then another voice, and not from the comms, but inside him, the Arcturian leader, her tone calm, mournful. They are trying to make you forget again. Listen to your true self. Her presence filled his mind, weaving through the chaos. For a moment the pain paused. He saw the Arcturian women on the ridge, their hands raised, channeling energy toward him, strands of light linking him to them like threads of fate. Elias, the leader's voice whispered, you were created as their weapon, but you were born from us. You can choose the code you obey. The drones fired. Twin beams lanced toward him. Instinct took over. His body moved faster than thought. He raised his hand and the air itself bent. The beams dissolved into dust. He stared at his glowing palm, horrified. What did you... How... You're remembering, the voice said. Now finish what they began, but not as they intended. The drones swarmed, dozens now, a storm of metal and light. Elias's vision blurred again, this time not from pain but from power. The code inside him was rewriting itself, line by line. He could see it, feel it, two systems clashing, human command and Arcturian instinct. One wanted destruction, the other wanted freedom. He raised both arms. The ground beneath him split open, releasing waves of shimmering blue energy that tore through the air. Drones exploded mid-flight, their remains scattering like ash. The sky ignited with electric fire. And then silence, only the sound of the wind. The horizon glowed faintly with the silhouettes of the women approaching him, their movements slow, graceful, unafraid. Elias fell to his knees again, exhausted, trembling. I killed them. My own people. No, said the Arcturian leader kneeling beside him. You killed no one. You freed yourself from their control. He looked up at her, desperate, afraid. What am I now? Her eyes glowed with quiet sorrow. You are the bridge. You carry the DNA of both civilizations. You are the first of what could have been peace. But they'll come again, Elias whispered. They won't stop. They can't reach this world without you, she said. You are their key. As long as you resist the sequence, we live. If you surrender, everything ends. Thunder rolled across the alien sky, but it wasn't thunder. It was the hum of orbiting ships entering atmosphere, dozens of them, the full fleet. Haldane's voice returned, booming through every frequency. Commander Ward, you've gone rogue, mission integrity compromised. Remote override initiated. Elias's body convulsed. Light seared through his veins again. He screamed, the virus reawakening. The Arcturian leader grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. Elias, listen to me. There is one way to stop them. Merge the code. Fuse the human virus with Arcturian memory. Turn their weapon into protection. I don't know how, he shouted. You already do, she said. It's written inside you. The air crackled. His mind fractured between two realities. The human fleet closing in, and the Arcturian world glowing beneath him. He felt himself splitting in two, one half ready to destroy, the other ready to heal. Then, in a moment of terrifying clarity, he understood. He wasn't meant to choose between human and Arcturian. He was meant to become both. He spread his arms wide, pulling every fragment of power inside him into one single pulse. The sky twisted, gravity bent, and light spiraled outward from his body, reaching into orbit, into every human ship above. And then everything stopped. Silence again. The ships froze in the sky like suspended glass. Every system went dark. Elias collapsed, barely conscious, his body flickering between human and light. The leader knelt beside him, cradling his head. It's done, she whispered. You've rewritten the sequence. The drones swarmed, dozens now. A storm of metal and light. Elias's vision blurred again, this time not from pain but from power. The code inside him was rewriting itself, line by line. He could see it, feel it, two systems clashing, human command and Arcturian instinct. One wanted destruction, the other wanted freedom. He raised both arms. The ground beneath him split open, releasing waves of shimmering blue energy that tore through the air. Drones exploded mid-flight, their remains scattering like ash. The sky ignited with electric fire. And then silence, only the sound of the wind. The horizon glowed faintly with the silhouettes of the women approaching him, their movements slow, graceful, unafraid. Elias fell to his knees again, exhausted, trembling. I killed them. My own people. No, said the Arcturian leader kneeling beside him. You killed no one. You freed yourself from their control. He looked up at her, desperate, afraid. What am I now? Her eyes glowed with quiet sorrow. You are the bridge. You carry the DNA of both civilizations. You are the first of what could have been peace. But they'll come again, Elias whispered. They won't stop. They can't reach this world without you, she said. You are their key. As long as you resist the sequence, we live. If you surrender, everything ends. Thunder rolled across the alien sky, but it wasn't thunder. It was the hum of orbiting ships entering atmosphere, dozens of them, the full fleet. Haldane's voice returned, booming through every frequency. Commander Ward, you've gone rogue. Mission integrity compromised. Remote override initiated. Elias's body convulsed. Light seared through his veins again. He screamed, the virus reawakening. The Arcturian leader grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. Elias, listen to me. There is one way to stop them. Merge the code. Fuse the human virus with Arcturian memory. Turn their weapon into protection. I don't know how, he shouted. You already do, she said. It's written inside you. The air crackled. His mind fractured between two realities. The human fleet closing in, and the Arcturian world glowing beneath him. He felt himself splitting in two. One half ready to destroy, the other ready to heal. Then, in a moment of terrifying clarity, he understood. He wasn't meant to choose between human and Arcturian. He was meant to become both. He spread his arms wide, pulling every fragment of power inside him into one single pulse. The sky twisted, gravity bent, and light spiraled outward from his body, reaching into orbit, into every human ship above. And then everything stopped. Silence again. The ships froze in the sky like suspended glass. Every system went dark. Elias collapsed, barely conscious, his body flickering between human and light. The leader knelt beside him, cradling his head. It's done, she whispered. You've rewritten the sequence. His eyes fluttered open. What happens now? Her expression was unreadable. Now you must choose what you'll become, savior or ghost. The world around him began to fade, dissolving into fragments of light. He was being pulled somewhere, not by force this time, but by choice. One final decision. The world faded to white again, but this time it wasn't the void of death. It was transition. Elias felt himself unraveling, his thoughts scattering like dust through light, until something pulled him back into form. He was standing in the middle of an empty plain beneath a violet sky, a horizon that seemed to curve and breathe. The Arcturian leader appeared before him, though she wasn't quite solid now. Her edges shimmered, her voice echoing from everywhere at once. You've altered the code, she said. You've given us a future, but it comes with a price. Elias felt the truth before she spoke it. His heart was no longer beating. His body was becoming transparent, dissolving molecule by molecule into energy. I'm dying, he said quietly. She shook her head. No, you're ascending, becoming what you were meant to be. You are no longer bound to flesh. He looked down at his glowing hands, the light rippling through his veins like liquid fire. Then what happens to me? You become the connection, she said, the bridge between your kind and ours, but to do so, you must return to them. To the humans? Yes. They will think you're still their creation, still their weapon, but you will carry our memory inside you. You will be our voice in their world. Elias's throat tightened. They'll kill me the moment I return. Perhaps, she said softly. But if even one of them sees the truth through you, if even one remembers that they came from the same stars we did, then our existence was not in vain. A low tremor rolled across the plain. In the distance, the human ships hung frozen in the atmosphere, their engines dead. But now they began to stir, systems rebooting, lights flickering back to life. They're waking up, Elias said. Then go, the leader whispered, while you still can. She reached out her hand, and when he took it, he felt something pass between them. Not words, but emotion. Centuries of memory, grief, beauty, survival. The heartbeat of an entire civilization pressed into his mind. And then with one final flash, she was gone. Elias blinked and found himself standing on the deck of a human command vessel. The bridge was in chaos. Officers scrambled to regain control of their consoles, shouting into dead comms. The smell of burnt circuitry filled the air. Commander Ward? One of them gasped. How did you? We thought... He didn't answer. His reflection in the glass showed eyes no longer entirely human, irises swirling faintly with blue light. Director Haldane stormed onto the deck, face pale and trembling. Ward, you disobeyed a direct order. Elias turned slowly to face him. You lied to me. You turned me into a weapon to murder something you were too afraid to understand. They are a contagion, Haldane hissed. An evolutionary parasite. You think they showed you mercy? They manipulated you. They always do. Elias stepped closer. I saw their memories, Haldane. They were us. Before we forgot what it meant to evolve with empathy instead of conquest. Haldane's expression shifted. First disbelief, then fury. You're not even human anymore. You think you can come back here and lecture me about empathy? You're the infection now. He drew a pistol and aimed it at Elias's chest. For a moment, time seemed to hold its breath. Elias didn't move. He looked at Haldane, truly looked at him, and saw not a villain, but a terrified man clinging to the illusion of control. You're right, Elias said softly. I'm not human anymore, but neither are you. You gave that up the moment you forgot what humanity was supposed to protect. Haldane fired. The bullet struck Elias square in the heart. It dissolved instantly into light. His body rippled with energy, not pain. The entire ship shuddered as every system lit up, not with human power, but with Arcturian energy. Screens flashed with the alien glyph, 3 circles intersected by a line of light. Elias, what are you doing? Haldane stammered. I'm giving you what you wanted, Elias said, voice calm, resonant. Contact. And then through every comm channel, every display, every neural interface, the Arcturian memory streamed. Images of their world, their beauty, their destruction, their forgiveness. Every soldier saw it, every scientist, every soul aboard the fleet was flooded with the truth humanity had buried. Some screamed, some wept. Some simply fell silent, undone by the enormity of what they'd done. Haldane sank to his knees, eyes wide, whispering, What have we become? Elias smiled faintly, something that can still change. Then he turned toward the viewport. Below them, Arcturus IV shimmered with a light so pure it looked like dawn. The entire planet pulsed once, then stilled. Peace. His form was fading now, his edges dissolving into blue fire. If they ever return, he whispered, tell them I was never their enemy. And with that, Elias vanished, not in death, but in transformation, his energy dispersing through the ship's systems, through the void, through the stars themselves. The virus was gone. In its place was a bridge, a living frequency connecting human and Arcturian consciousness. Somewhere in that quiet space between worlds, a voice whispered one last time, Welcome home. Silence followed, but it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something neither species could have predicted, an evolution born not from dominance, but from understanding. Because sometimes the only way to save 2 worlds is to become both.